Okay, so let's go for the second part of the recording of Alisa's podcast. So apparently we were talking way too much. If we go back to your story, you arrived in France and you had quite an unsuccessful or quite a sad experience with a French couple that were a bit woo-woo.
Well, after I met many Ukrainians, I found out that, many people had the same experience.
Oh, really?
Not
okay.
really, like maybe 40% of people. 40% of people,
40% of people?
Yeah, I think so.
My God.
Well, I think
French people all crazy. What's happening?
I think it's not only about France, it's about general, like in Europe in general.
Yeah.
Also because, it's first people thought that the war will finish very fast, in a couple of months. Yeah. Also, when they were offering the houses, they thought, well, maybe for 2-3 months, most of the offers, they were like this. So for people... quite difficult to understand all the situation in general, that the war can be like for 2-3 years and we really need some stable place. Like, for example, my daughter, she started the school this year. Mm-hmm. Well, the school is obligatory in France from 3 years old, but so we go into school. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and it's very important for her to have one place, more stability, not just coming and... she's getting used to one teacher and then she's changing the school in a couple of months. Mm-hmm. So that's it. And after this couple, how when it happened in that village, the family who were living in the same village, they've seen all the story.
Okay,
that was like in front of them, and somehow they were trying to integrate us a little bit more. So they were just inviting us sometimes. To the mountains, to the picnic, or like to feel us better because they've seen we all just like hanging with each other, three of us, because you come in, you don't speak very good French in the beginning, so you don't know anyone. So they were very kind, and after the scene, they told, well, just come to our place.
Okay.
Well, we don't have a very big house. Basically, it was, I think, one room, 15 square meters. So the 3 beds were very tight.
Okay,
you don't have really much space to walk.
Okay,
but I mean, and we were sharing a living room and a kitchen with them. And it was fine. They were very kind. We are still very good friends.
Yeah. Okay.
So because when it's happening in a family, like previous family that I told you about, who had strange attitude, I would say it's like this. You're always thinking, did I do something wrong? You are like blaming yourself always first, but then analyzing, well, maybe this, maybe it's.
Maybe they were a little bit funny.
Kind of. Yes. So, but I understood that we cannot stay in their place for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because they are family, and we are very tired together. Basically, living in the same space. So I was constantly looking for a new place to stay, like just 8 hours a day, full-time job.
Yes.
In internet, writing everywhere, like in 25 Facebook groups. So many people offer their places in Facebook groups, but like for 2-6 months as well, for free.
Yeah.
So they were kind and nice. But I told, well, thank you, that's very good. I mean, then I felt we're not in the street. Yeah. But we are looking for something more permanent.
Yeah.
Then I figure out I need to contact like local website where people actually give announces that they're renting out their places.
Yeah, and so going outside the association circle for helping Ukrainian, but really trying to get a place on your own.
Exactly.
Okay.
What I think also difficult for other people, and mainly difficult in France, because if you don't have working contract here, no one wishing to rent your apartment.
Yes,
because you cannot prove that you will pay for it, and in a way, I think in the winter they cannot take you out or something. So there are some rules to protect the tenants. So the people who could rent us theoretically, they will take a risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wrote like a template to many people. Well, okay, so there if you have 100 announces, 70 or 75 of them will be from different agencies. And only 20-25 will be from private people.
Yeah, okay.
So there is no way to write to agencies. They just don't want to talk to you if you don't have a working
because
contract.
you do not meet the requirements, so they will tell you right away, nope.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I don't have any... This is my first apartments in France, so I didn't rent before. And there should be also some person who would say that you are responsible, usually parents.
Yes.
You know? And I don't have parents here in France. Well, I have my mom, but she's not French.
But she's coming with you and she doesn't speak French. And she's in the same situation. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So after writing to many people, a few of them responded.
Okay.
And actually just one of them invited me for an interview, let's say. We were talking that interview to rent apartments in France, probably in many countries in Western world. It's like a beauty competition.
A little bit, I guess that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, okay.
Well, they're not looking at your beauty, but like how you are as a person, you know.
Yeah.
So I was lucky, you know. I talked to these people. I think the same day, other 5 or 7 people, French people, they were looking at the same apartments, and so it was like Friday, and we talked with them for a long time, more than for 1 hour, you know, and they were asking me this and that. Good that I was already able to talk some French, you know, to speak French. Yeah. So, well, not super good, but still. And they told we will give you an answer on Monday. So on Monday they told yes. Yeah. I was like, yeah, cool. Well,
so you won the beauty contest. Well done, Alisa.
I wrote here, you know, just a bit of makeup, no makeup, but still.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get my crown, you know. Okay, so after that they told it was a bit more than my budget, but it was a nice apartment. But then another problem, it wasn't furnished. I mean, at all. There was no like fridge. There was something to cook on, and there were no oven, no washing machine, and basically no beds and no wardrobes, nothing. So then I had to find everying.
And at that time you didn't have a car.
Yes, at the time I didn't have a car, so I had to find everything. But I was really lucky, you know. Many friends helped me because I didn't want to search apartments because someone else invited me to other parts of France. Or they thought maybe it's easier to find apartments there. But you know, I'm starting to have some circle of friends. Here in this region, and you know, the previous village is just 20 kilometers from here. So I didn't want to live really far, you know, because you just trying to make some routes and then you again go to another.
Start over. So I think it's quite a good community and quite a good circle now, at least around here it seems to be. So
in fact, lots of English speakers. And I found that because maybe those people they're not in their country and they feel how difficult it is, so they're trying to help
English speaking people.
So I got like really many things from English speakers. And from people from UK, Ireland, Sweden.
It's been quite a good surprise for us as well, coming back here, and because I have my circle of friends that are pure French, and then suddenly with Kevin who doesn't speak French, and we come back and there is a huge community of English speaking people, so that's actually quite cool.
Discovering, mainly pensioners, but still very good.
Well, mainly, but not all of them, so that's also cool. So you managed to furnish your apartment?
Yeah, I think it took like 3-4 weeks. And my mom at that moment, she went to Kharkiv because to visit my father who stayed there. I mean, I didn't go because I'm with my daughter, so I thought it's not the best idea because you know, during 3 weeks that she was there, she told our house, even the missiles arrived not very close, 5-7 kilometers, but 3 times she told the house was like the walls were shaking. You know, so I thought it's not the best idea to go with a kid, with a small kid. And what I was surprised about, that my mom told there was so many families, you know, and this is like, I had in my mind that so many people left in Kharkiv because in March we had this kind of panic. Coming back to the beginning of the war, you know, we left in the beginning because, well, I could a bit predict that it will not stop very fast. And people, so I remember very well this first week, people told us, well, we are not, they're just scaring us, so we will not really panic, so we'll just stay in places. And then when it started to be really, really, really hard, like just bombing city center, then the chaos started. Like, so you have this horrible photos, I mean, from Kharkiv train station, where one train, so the train company started evacuation trains. There were a few. Also, it was very difficult to get there because, I mean, no one knew how the road will be at this moment. So you have these horrible photos of the train standing, and we have a huge square, you know, it's like a very big train station, it's a big city before, and it's like filled with people, like crowds of people. And some families came together, husband with a wife and a kid, and in the train workers, they were not allowing husbands to enter the train. So that at that moment,
because at the moment, so men cannot leave Ukraine unless they are pensioner, right?
From 18 years old till 60, men are not allowed right now.
There is no mobilization, but you're not allowed to leave the country.
There is no full mobilization, let's say like this.
Okay. So your mom had this little time, like short time over there, and I think you mentioned, and that's something I want to say here, that during that time she actually had blood pressure change because of the stress of just hearing and you know, like you never know if a missile is gonna come and just blow you up.
Well, that's what she told, you know, somehow all the people adapted there. So they're like, okay, you know, they hear the siren, which sometimes goes like all the day, and they're just not reacting. She said, like, okay, the woman goes with the child, you know. And so I thought, why not all the children left, actually, not women or the children, because sometimes if it's full family and they're not, so the men not allowed to leave the country, then they should go to the western part of Ukraine. And the prices for the rent, because it's a huge demand, you know, rise
crazy.
And it's very, very expensive now. And probably if they leave the country, they don't have a job, they don't have any circle of friends, they can get job or something. So many people couldn't afford it, you know. So, and that's why they stayed. Many of my neighbors, they still there.
And they're adapting somehow, even though you might have some, you know, like some scar from living through this that
actually scares me, you know, because I think that will be a huge difference between people who've been abroad during this war and mainly women with kids, and who stayed there. So like somehow the mentality, of course, many people we're thinking of Ukraine, you know, and talking all the time, but still have to adapt to this life in another country. So and about blood pressure, few times she felt it, because, you know, this constant level of stress basically plays its role. And I was talking to many of my friends who are young people, like they 30, 35, and they noticed in 25 that they started to have some problems with their health. Even they're very positive. You know,
that they didn't have before. And do you fear that there will be a difference, or, you know, kind of being looked at as the person who ran away from your country?
That's a good question. I think for people who left Ukraine, it was definitely a case. This actually intimate question, I think, for many, because I'm from Kharkiv. I mean, the place was really dangerous then, so somehow it's like
it makes sense.
It makes sense.
It's not like you're living in the Lviv.
And still, I mean, it's missiles. Could arrive, you know, to Lviv. So
and you have the constant threat of Belarus, and so you never know. You basically never know.
So I can understand people who left from Western regions. Some regions that you don't really feel the war is going, you know. Of course, now there are problems with the electricity cuts. So also the heating at the same time in all Ukraine, in Western as well. But I was talking to some people from Lviv who left, and they felt like they were trying to excuse themselves. I don't know if they should or not, because I can understand them, that they're thinking of their kids. That when they go to school, they're just safe. They should be safe, you know. I don't know. It really depends of, you know, I also posted this question to me, you know, first days I felt it. But then I felt also such a huge level of stress, especially in the beginning of the war, and I cannot concentrate on anything, you know, just like keeping my child safe. So I thought, well, will I be like more productive helping Ukraine? So I'm trying now to organize an association and to do. In a few days, we are organizing an event for Ukrainians here. So I'm trying to do something here, and maybe to help and donate to Ukrainian associations who stay there and helping.
Which makes total sense to me. But sometimes you can have some funny, you know, like, I don't know, looks, or people might be
it really
judgy
depends
a bit.
on people, you know, the same as we were talking about French people who are hosting like this, like the other are super nice. So it really depends on the person.
So right now, what are your plans and what are your challenges?
Okay, when I came, you know, the difficult part here is we have this instability in plants. So when I came here, first I thought for a few months. Then in May I made my mind, okay, it's for 1 year for sure. So I need to learn French. I need to do this. Now I see that it's at least for a few years. And this instability, you know, that we don't know when it will finish. I don't know. Well, definitely I don't want to come back if my city will be Russian. I'm sure it will not. But you know, they were just in our outskirts, you know, as I mentioned in the previous part. We are very close, and I believe there will be some tension, you know, for years. So and I don't know what support, like in documents, will European Union do further. Like, definitely I don't want to apply for refugee status. Refugee is something like we have now temporary protection, which allows Ukrainians to go back to Ukraine for at least 1 month to visit relatives, husbands, and so on. So, but if you're a refugee, you cannot go to your country. So it's definitely what I don't want to do, because I want to go to Ukraine, and I used to organize festivals and many cultural activities there. So that's like part of my life, and Again, mentioning instability, I'm trying to do at the moment something that I can do here. Also, what I figured out, that's big problem not having Ukrainian literature. So, like, for example, I have a kid and she loves books. And she's like, read me this, read me that. I'm not that perfect in reading French yet. So there are not so many English books, mainly French books, right? So, and I really want. I've asked my mom to send me by post all the Ukrainian books we had at home. You know.
I understand.
And I ordered some good ones.
But that might be possible to organize something.
That's I'm thinking about more, because I've seen some Ukrainian associations who work in Paris. They had they donate to media library some books, and I'm thinking it should be done also in a smaller scales, like in the smaller cities like Béziers or Montpellier. You know.
So you mentioned the challenges. So like this, like you're looking for stability for your kid and for your life in general. And what other challenges you are facing here?
Actually, I feel it's much easier here in a way than in Ukraine. You know what I want to say? I mean,
that's really funny because when I had a discussion with Anna, she was saying the exact opposite. She was saying that for her, it's actually easier to stay in Ukraine rather than
in the beginning. But I think also here it plays a role that I've been living in many countries.
Yes.
No, it's my country number 7, I think. Somehow. And I was traveling a lot. So I feel pretty comfortable here.
Okay.
In a way, so the mentality thing, I'm I'm not very much in touch with French people right now. I mean, I'm a lot with English-speaking community. So, but as a musician, I think it's much easier to gain for your life also, That's what I did notice. So, somehow just adapting, and I see many perspectives and many interesting things.
So probably more opportunities here. So does it mean that you're going to stay in France?
I don't know. Let's put it in this way. I don't really know. It really depends on many things.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how long the war will be. Yeah. And even if I don't think it will finish very soon. So that's why I'm trying to my best to adapt and do something from here.
And build something here, even though you keep in mind somewhere that, when the war is over, then at some point you might go back to Kharkiv.
I have a beautiful house in Kharkiv, with a garden, and I planted so many trees last autumn. Hoping that they will give fruits already and you can taste them.
Is the house still standing?
Yes. When I hear this kind of questions, don't ask it to Ukrainian.
Okay, sorry.
Because you never know.
You never know. Yeah.
So you're saying yes, and I hope that yes.
Yeah.
And it will be, because the war is not finished again.
Yeah, because it must be so hard if you live and let's say you don't have any relatives or neighbors that are around, so you have no idea. And not knowing if your home, the homes that you have built maybe for years and years, is still standing or has been completely destroyed or looted, or maybe they took the washing machine and the bathtub and the toilets.
What happened to many of my friends, who live in the northern part of the city, in apartment blocks. So the missile just came close, basically I think 10 meters, and part of the friend, he sent me a photo, and part of his wall was destroyed.
Oh my God!
So they I don't know how they close it, and his parents, and because he left to the central part of Ukraine. So his parents or his friends, they made a photo. The neighbor told him, so I don't know. Now anyone can just enter his flat. So this, when people asking me, is your house still? It's a very thrilling question because some friends, they lost their houses. It's horrible, because even talking about the support that Europe gives now, when it's finished. People don't have anywhere to come back. Some people.
Maybe the house is lost, you don't necessarily have a job, and suddenly because the war is over, there is no more support.
Well, that's another thing also. When you're coming back to Ukraine, I'm sure, for all Ukrainians, it's the life before 24th of February and after. It's like the point that changed life forever. That's it, That's why I remember very well the evening before.
Can you just tell us quickly what we should not ask Ukrainians? Because you have a few questions, including me, asking you some dumb stuff, or not dumb, but I suppose
it's not dumb, of course.
It's a question that, as a person that has not lived through a war, you might ask, and you do not realize that it might actually, trigger some stuff.
Well, I left very soon, so. Well, I wouldn't say I experienced it, how many people who've been living there. And so interesting questions, that I receive sometimes. I mean, I will not judge the person, who told it, but just telling, some people, we came to the dentist and he asked, I hear because of the war. I told, yes, isn't it finished already? I was like... Well, why would we be here?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing about it, but I mean, of course, it's terrible, and also I think it proves that this guy is not really in touch with what's happening, right?
I don't know. But, well, should be an intelligent person because he's a doctor. I mean, this is not. So I felt like, why did you think that it's finished? Because I don't see it in a TV anymore.
Well, there you go. That's the problem. The media.
The media, I think that's what dictates.
And the war fatigue. So the media or talking less. That's why we do the podcast, to explain that it's still happening.
And some other people asked me, is it still going? And I like, what do you mean? My face is just freezing, when I hear this question. Yeah. And they told, because it was starting and going and again start, and it's
never stopped. Oh my God.
So this is something very interesting,
Yeah.
I feel, we are we're not that close here in France, like Poland and Germany.
Mm-hmm.
We're a bit further, but still very, very close.
Mm-hmm.
And some people just like, it's not in our everyday circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's interesting. It was something new for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I do feel there is a clear difference with, for example, the circle of friends I have that are like French, that are living their lives, and the expat community as such, or the English-speaking community that is living here, that are, I guess, more in touch with what's happening in the world and more in touch with a diversity of people and are more involved into what's happening.
Well, I didn't want to mention this.
No, that's why I'm saying it, because you're too polite. You're not going to say anything. But I think that's definitely a point.
Now I'm interviewing you. Why do you think it is like this?
Well, I guess I'm not the best person to answer that question. I haven't been living in France since 2009, so it's been a while. I'm French, but I haven't been living there. So I guess when you travel around the world, you are just more interested in what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. I guess it's a probably a cultural thing. South of France people are very laid back, very, chill.
Just southern part, yeah?
Yeah, southern part more so. I think it's, the weather is nice, it's beautiful. So,
let's
you
enjoy
chill.
The life.
Yeah, let's enjoy it, which is not a bad thing. But, that might lead to being a little less interested with what's happening in the world. And I guess when your life is only, your sphere of interest is very localized to your village or your city, or, because you're not affected by what's going to happen in the world as such. I mean, apart from the prices of gas and stuff like that that's going to raise, okay. Apart from that, you don't see it, you're not affected by it, so you do not relate to it. But when you start traveling and you start to understand how these things work, and you're more involved into it because you understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask my last question is, when the war is over and Ukraine wins, of course.
Of course, we already won, at least in the media.
How are you gonna celebrate?
How I'm gonna celebrate? That's a good question.
How have you thought about it?
Celebration, interesting. It's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Because every time the question about when the Ukraine will win, well, I will say like Zelensky, I will go to Crimea to swim a little bit.
Okay, that's a good way. Okay.
That will be a good celebration. I will invite all the people here whom we met. They're from all different parts of Ukraine, whom we met here in southern France. I will invite them in Crimea.
Okay, cool. Let's go and have a tour of
and all my friends
of Ukraine.
French people, who I met here, and English speakers.
Yeah. I do believe when the war is over, you will have, like Ukraine will have a big wave of tourism. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I think some of my friends are already building houses for tourists.
Business opportunity here.
Almost to the front,
Yeah.
The front line.
Yeah. Okay, well, Alisa, do you have any last words you want to share with the podcast?
I thought you were going to say, do you have any questions to me?
Well, I'm the person who interviews here, so I'm the one asking the questions. So do you have any words that you would like to share?
For people, I think just to go out from the comfort zone, generally, and to be more interested in other people, in other cultures, in what's happening in the world. It will really give you a wider feeling. But I think all people who watch your podcast, they're actually thinking a bit wider already.
Probably, hopefully, I don't know.
So, but maybe they can share then to their friends.
Exactly.
and say like, look wider and come to Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Alisa. So to all the listeners, as you were saying, well, if you want to give, like some support to the podcast, sharing the story of Alisa, like, subscribe, comment, and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fanny.
Thank you, Alisa.
Thank you.
You can tell me, Alisa. Don't be shy.
I feel like
I can hear everything.
A glass bowl, you can tell me. And I can tell you.